Hello, friends. How are you today? I am so excited to be here with you today and to talk about energy and the Schumann resonance, and to talk about how this may influence our human experience and how our human experience may contribute to generating these energies. So before I go into it more, if you could like the video and if you could share the video, if it resonates with you, that would be absolutely wonderful. I really, really thank you for doing that. If you could click subscribe to get onto the channel. And I wanted to mention I am still having my light celebration crystal fair rates for my sessions. I'm going to do that through, it's Friday, so I'll do it through Saturday, through the weekend. And then I will be doing sessions for 1 week after that. And then I'm going to take a break through Christmas. At some point in January, I'll have some new offerings for you. So that's kind of exciting. I'm always working on something. So if you're looking for something special, resonance related for Christmas, I have 3 designs. I have a merchandise link below, and I have 3 designs that are cool, and you can get them on cups, you can get them on t-shirts, you can get them on notebooks. I love the notebooks. I've gotten those. And anyway, you can also get them in prints. So take a look at that if you're interested in, some gift giving around resonance merchandise. So come on into the shop. It's also on my website under shop. There's also a link for the sessions information as well. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yeah, sorry. All right, so this is the chart this morning, and I just want to show you what it looks like now because it has a little formation on it. Okay, here we go. And that is this right here. Look at this. And I'm calling this break the matrix, okay? Because I just look at it. I mean, we've got all these boxes. I've talked about this box energy before, but essentially it looks to me like attempts to box our thinking. But when it's filled with the white resonance lines like this, to me, it feels like we are bringing our conscious awareness into that and breaking the boxes. We're stepping out of the boxes. And because the white, in my view, represents both a celestial energy, kind of an expanded state of being, but it also shows where the action is in the chart, is how I interpret it. So what happens, okay? And we need to go back a couple days to look at where like the big exciting, it was so amazing. I couldn't believe it. The red resonance quality line was just like stuck at 25. And we had mentioned it before, but then it just has gone on for days and it's been incredible. And then now what happened? It's like, boom, right here. Okay. It started at about 17. And the amplitude in the quality started to move upward. And of course, the other resonances as well. But it was really notable in red because I had actually talked about this recently in a video that I was saying, well, it's a good thing the amplitudes are low because with all this stuff going on in the chart, what's going to happen if the power of the energy expands, right? It gets stronger, which is the higher amplitude. So we got the higher amplitude and look at what happened. Within a few hours, okay, it actually started it started within less than 2 hours, okay, of the amplitude starting to rise. We started to get these lines on the charts, but then they just got really dramatic. Almost like a window opening, right? Or like the shades in a window. And that's what I'm just seeing, like when you're a kid and you take the cords on those little thin blinds and you just snap them, like you snap them open or you snap them closed. That's what I'm seeing. It's like we snapped open, right? Our awareness, because these lines here on the chart, all the vertical lines, no matter where they are on the chart, correspond with a hertz range, okay? And all of those hertz ranges on this Schumann resonance chart correspond with human brain waves. So you have here, this line here, okay, at the top of the box is about 20 hertz. This is 12, and these are in our waking states. And then the lower down on the chart, or the higher up in hertz you get, the more like critical, analytical thinking, integrated thinking. So this line here now is really starting to expand. I had talked about the blue lines a couple of videos ago. And how it was very like a spiritual, right? It had more of a spiritual energy because it was white and blue. And I'm going to show you I did a summary I finally wrote it down and put it in an image. So I'm going to share that. I'll share that on Twitter. Why? Because it's easy for me to put images there instead of on my website, because images use a lot of server space. So if I put it over there, it's just easier for me. And if you have other suggestions of places to put them, please share. I know that Telegram's been mentioned before to me. But anyway, okay, so what do we got here? All right, so now look what happened. Okay, the green, okay, expanded into this. And you can see we're talking about frequency, we're talking about resonance, and now it's like you can essentially see as the power of the red, which has been at 25, okay, first of all, it's been super restricted, okay, then it's been at a high quality, 25, okay, with just little blips, slight blips moving out of it, only like even sometimes once a day. Okay, so now it's at a high quality, which means it's closer to the true essence of what it is. It's less of a distorted perception of what it is and more clear perception. Okay, and specifically in the red resonance. And what is that? Actually, let me bring the chart up because I'm very proud of it. Here we go. I just made this today. Okay, so the red and deep, dense emotions, human shadow personality, forces of darkness. Okay, that's a pretty good summary of what it is. Let's go back to the red here. So all of those things are then amplified here, okay, because of the amplitude. Let me show you the increase in amplitude. Here it is. And you can see here it started right about 17. Now, of course, there's obviously increases in the other resonances as well. But as you know, if you've been watching the channel, we've been tracking the red because it's been moving differently than normal. Okay. And it was so cool. I know a lot of you checked out my video on the technological effect of April 2020 and its potential effect on narrowing the range of frequencies today. And I just said, wow, I wonder if this is correlated. And it was such an interesting analysis. I loved going through that with you guys. So thanks for watching that. But you can see here, look at the yellow at 15. The yellow amplitude is usually higher. Naturally, it's usually higher than red, but see here, I know this because I've already seen the chart. See, it's at 26. It's almost double, okay, because 30 would be double. And oh my gosh, look at this. It's equal with the white resonance. I mean, you don't see this very often on the chart. We have seen it before, but you don't see it very often where the red resonance is equal to the peak of the white. So this is a very powerful move here in this deep, dense energy, okay? The red, our deepest, densest emotions, our anger, okay? Our traumatized emotions that have built up or from our past or whatever, our past lives. But it could also be, okay, our passion, all right, which has been somewhat restrained here. And, maybe it's been somewhat restrained, okay? But it's also keeping the passion within this narrow frequency band in a way amplifies it. And finally, we see that in the chart right here. And that is why I was like, wow, this is so cool. Now check out the quality. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Look, and the quality even spiked up in red to 30, which is, let's see, it has peaked once in the last few weeks at 35, I think it was. And so now it's peaked again to 30 right here on December 1st. And what's happened in the last few days, we've had geomagnetic storms in the atmosphere. And it's interesting because I always talk about the geomagnetic storms and the solar flares and my view of how they interact with the human energy field. And how I see that is if you see the human energy field as a sphere around the human body, what I see is that this agitates it. Okay, so let's go back. So this is where the recent geomagnetic storms, this is where they started. Okay, and you could see it like it's like it cleared the chart slightly. Someone asked me about this on Twitter. You're going to see sometimes there's correlations and sometimes there's not. But here it does appear like the storm came in, cleared it, but then the storm went on for like 6 hours. And its noticeable effect happened right at the beginning. And then I kind of wondered if, you see how the energy is even clearer here? It's like it just wiped the slate clean. I'm guessing, because who knows? We don't really know. I'd probably have to have like a computer with all the data to be really able to find, be really adept at that is what I feel like. Okay, but let's go to the quality really quick, because this is where this was so incredible where it started. Let's go back to the 26th. Yeah. And that's where it started. I remember when we talked about this, it was so exciting. And I have videos from the 25th and the 26th where I address much more deeply into that red and its movement and what the meaning is. On the 29th, it was like all day. And I talked about how this looked like a heartbeat and the quality, or upside down heartbeat. And then oh, that's the solar flares, which are kind of just thin and spindly, except they had a pattern change. I just want to, right before, where is it? Hold on, I gotta find the pattern change. Okay, first let's look at, okay, so here's the geomagnetic storms and disturbances. Okay, this was the bigger one where there were actual storms for 3 hours starting here. Now you can see that there's not a clear correlation. It looks like maybe this amped up, like the green at 7.83 hertz range got wider, okay? But and these little vertical lines cleared out, so that happened. And then here we had, and now this lasted for 9 hours, so 4 plus 9 is 13. Okay, so it lasted in there. And it seems like maybe it had more of an effect at the beginning when there were actual storms. Then it went to disturbances, and then the chart, I don't know, reformed like this. And then where you have the kind of green matrix lines lit up here, but still they're different, right, from how it was before when it was like all like this. Okay, and even here, when it had all the green matrixy lines and the lower hertz lit up, it was much more, it's much more clear during and after the storms and disturbances than before. So that is, I don't know, is that a correlation? I don't know, but I'm just observing that occurred at the same time. And then we get to today. That's where the solar flare changes to. Oh, where is it? There it is. Here, I'll show you the solar flare change. It's right here. Okay, look at the change in pattern. It's so interesting. And the change in pattern occurred on the 2nd. So the pattern change in the sun started here. And then, yeah, it was half a day later, really, or more, till the amplitude changed. Let's look at that pattern again because it was kind of wild. It went on like that it stopped at 5 a.m. on the chart, which is after the solar flare pattern change, we started to get an amp up in the white. So what I want to say is this. So you're the human being in your human energy field, and how I view it is that at the higher dimensional states, the sun affects us more quickly, and that's why some of us who are more energetically sensitive might even feel these events beforehand. A lot of people do that, however you perceive them. Some people feel them, some people have body responses, etc. So how I see it is that the solar flares like poke us. Okay, it's like the flare comes and pokes into our field. That's how I see that energy. So it would make sense to me that we'd get like an explosion of light, an explosion of consciousness after that poking. But what the geomagnetics do, in my view, they're in the upper atmosphere, right? So it's like they're like sandpaper on the atmosphere is how I perceive them, okay, energetically. And I perceive that that's how they act in our field, like sandpaper, okay? And I used to, I used to walk around with my cell phone. This is back when people talked to each other in the grocery store, because there's still, where I live, people are still not talking to each other in the grocery store for the most part. Okay, so what I would do is I'd just be in the random grocery aisles, and you know how you just start talking to people, and people would go, "Oh man, I have such a headache today. Like, what is going on?" And I'd whip out my phone and be like, "Look at the Schumann resonance, and look at the solar flares, and look at the geomagnetics," and that was before I had the channel, right? Because I started the channel when the lockdown started, which turned out to be, silver lining, a huge blessing for me. So, and I really want to thank you guys. Just take a moment here to say thank you, because I got to 5,000 subscribers, and I'm just so blown away. It's been just under 2 years, and my heart is like so grateful. Thank you so much for being here on the channel, and for helping me get to 5,000 plus subscribers. I'm just wowed. Really, I'm just literally wowed. It's just incredible. So thank you. Okay, so it's been my dream. I always saw myself speaking to audiences, and I thought it was going to be in person, and it took me a while to get that there might be an audience I couldn't see. Yeah. I gave many talks at conferences on subjects that you guys might think are super boring now. But anyway, I loved it, even though I was talking about very mechanical, business-oriented sort of processes and different things. I loved it. I love giving talks. I love reading the audience, and so that's. But I can sense, because I'm energetically sensitive, I can kind of sense the flow of how you guys are. So, okay, I'm going to stop the talk break on that. But thanks for being here. Okay, so I'm not really talking much about the frequency, because I have talked so much about it recently. Here is the narrow restricted band that we talked about. So with the geomagnetics, rubbing our energy feels like sandpaper, okay? It took a few days, right? Because it was like this somewhat boring looking chart for several days, and then boom, boom. Okay, breaking the matrix. And then we have another cross shape in the middle. We've had several crosses on the chart lately. And, this here, let's see, this line here is this is the line that was in, 29. I'm just going to call it 30, even though it's like 29.8 for this line that grows in expansion as we get these horizontal lines. Okay. And you see all the red clearing here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We haven't had a pattern like this on the chart that I can recall, okay, where the horizontal lines have been lit up in the high hertz like this. Now, tonight, there's an eclipse. It's the dates and time of the eclipse, because it's on the 3rd or the 4th, depending where you live. Plus 7 is actually 14. It's going to be 2. See, I knew. I could just tell. It didn't feel right. So it's 2:33. Ooh, I love that number. So it's 11:33 p.m. Pacific, 2:33 a.m. Eastern, and it'll be 2:33 p.m. on the chart. We can see how the full moon and the eclipse affects the chart. This eclipse coming up is super interesting and amazing, because it's entirely located over Antarctica. And I have a video I'm going to be putting out in a few hours on the eclipse. So come take a look at that with me, because I'm going to be talking about not only about the eclipse and the energies, but we are going to be looking at it from the geological location of Antarctica and how the energies unfold. At that video later tonight. It'll probably be tonight or in the wee hours of the morning that I release it. Hopefully you join me there too. Okay, take care. Thanks so much for being here, guys. Bye.